Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here at the Saskatoon Westview campaign office. And we know very much in our province that Saskatchewan's future is our young people, our youth, our children, and the future of Saskatchewan most certainly lies in the opportunities that we have in providing them a future right here at home, just like with Jake and Luke Glubas that have joined us here today. For far too many years, what happened in this province is we watched far too many of our young people get their education in Saskatchewan, and these are our children. These are our province's future. And then they went on to go somewhere else in Canada to work. That was certainly happening with many of my friends when I grew up in the late 80s and early 90s. And that's a trend that needed to end. We need our students, we need our young people to stay here in Saskatchewan. We need to first create more opportunities for young people right here in our home province, and we need young people to believe that those opportunities exist right here at home for them, to help us build a strong economy and find a bright future right here in Saskatchewan. That is why one of the very first initiatives that a Saskatchewan Party government committed to and delivered on in the 2007 election and upon forming government was to introduce the Graduate Retention Program, which provided $20,000 in tuition rebates to young people who chose to live, work, and raise their family in a community in Saskatchewan. It's been a success now for over 85,000 students since its introduction. That's 85,000 educated people, young people, who chose to start their career and build a bright future right here in Saskatchewan. 85,000 young people who are building a strong economy and a bright future for everyone in our province now. It also means $800 million has been returned into the pockets of post-secondary graduates that are living in a Saskatchewan community, making life more affordable for young people as they start their careers. Saskatchewan today, and I said yesterday, is already the most affordable place in Canada to live, with the lowest inflation rate in the nation. But students, like families across this province, are facing increasing costs and expenses. And that's why we are announcing today that we will increase the Graduate Retention Program benefit by 20%. That will take that rebate for young people in our province, people like Jake and Luke, from $20,000 to $24,000 for graduates with a 4-year degree, and graduates with a 1 to 3-year degree will also experience a 20% increase in their graduate retention rebate. In addition, we will also introduce a new rebate for Class 1 truck driver training, a $5,000 rebate to partially cover the costs of those that are taking their Class 1 truck driver training and then choose to live or work right here at home in Saskatchewan. Now, the NDP have said that they would cancel the Graduate Retention Program. The NDP had said that the Graduate Retention Program is not that effective. Well, tell that to over 85,000 students who today have benefited or are benefiting from that program. Ask Luke and Jake Glubas, who are with us here today, whether the Graduate Retention Program is valuable and effective for them to make a decision to stay in their province where they were raised. They are both studying as millwrights and industrial mechanics. They are studying today to be millwrights and industrial mechanics, and they both want to stay in Saskatchewan to build a bright future for themselves, and I would say in turn, build a bright future for all who live here in the province. They will both be future recipients of the Graduate Retention Program upon their convocation or graduation, and I would expect that is going to help them make that decision to stay here in Saskatchewan. So today's announcement, it is for Jake and Luke. But it is also for thousands of other young people from all over Saskatchewan who want to build a career, and they want to build a life, and they want to build a future in our great province. By canceling the Graduate Retention Program, the NDP would choose to burden post-secondary grads with hundreds of millions of dollars in additional taxes. This is essentially a tax increase. And they would be offsetting their reckless commitments, their reckless spending commitments on the backs of our province's future, on the backs of our children. Higher taxes, decline, loss, and closures. Not only is that the NDP's record, that is the NDP's plan that we can see clearly here today. Let's never go back to that. Of course, the graduate retention program increases on top of the very significant income tax reduction that we announced yesterday that will benefit everyone who lives in Saskatchewan. Combine that with today's tax reduction with today's announcement of a 20% increase to our graduate retention program. Saskatchewan really is the best place for post-secondary grads to start their career and to live. And we are only able to, yes. We are only able to make this investment in our young people, in our students, in our children, and I would say in the future of our province because of a strong and growing economy. That is the only way these investments are made possible. And we look forward to more students choosing Saskatchewan as a place to not only receive a world-class education like they always have, but then making the decision to stay here, to build a strong economy for themselves and their family, but to contribute to that strong economy for everyone in the future of our province. So thank you very much. And we're just going to take some questions right here. Is that correct?
Jake and Luke will get you guys tomorrow. Or do you want to?
Yeah, you can see here.
Premier Moe?
Yes.
The NDP's just put out a press release saying that in every quarter since 2018, outmigration has outpaced provincial in-migration. They're saying that record represents a failure on that front. How do you respond?
What we've seen is significant amounts of immigration into not only Canada, but into Saskatchewan. And what we see in Saskatchewan is the most robust immigration policy that is focused on economic immigration. And we would ask the federal government to engage with Saskatchewan in what we have done in focusing on that. Any successful immigration program is going to have a focus on economic immigration so that we can build that stronger, brighter future for all that not only live in Saskatchewan, but live in our great nation of Canada. Once people are here, they will move. They will move. And so what you're referencing is one of the flows of people in and out of Saskatchewan. And I would dare say this, you don't have to go back too far under an NDP administration where Saskatchewan kids were actually writing on the back of the welcome to Saskatchewan sign as you came in from Alberta with the last person leaving, please turn out the lights. And so the fact of the matter is that there are so many more opportunities here for young people today to build a career and to start a life in Saskatchewan. The graduate retention program is one of those incentives to keep people working and staying, our children and our future working and staying in a Saskatchewan community. And it's a program that the NDP would cancel. And actually add those taxes to our Saskatchewan youth and our Saskatchewan children, causing that outmigration to be even a higher number into the future. And so the NDP is in a glass house when it comes to questioning anything in this space with respect to attracting and keeping Saskatchewan's youth in a Saskatchewan community.
Given those numbers, the net outmigration, do you feel that enough has been done in the last 6 years?
We're always looking to do more, and that is why we are committing to increasing the graduate retention program for our youth and our future by 20%, should we be elected and have the honor to form government here in the province. Again, this is a program the NDP would cancel, and that's disappointing, offsetting their reckless spending and paying for that on our children's future and asking our kids to pay for that for years into the future. And so this is a significant difference in the choice that Saskatchewan people have to make. You have to elect a Saskatchewan Party that is going to build a strong economy and then support our youth through the graduate retention program and other programs to stay here in the province? Or are you going to make a vote for decline, loss, and closures, which is the NDP's record, and through canceling programs that would offset and increase taxes for Jake and Luke and other youth, we would have people leaving this province yet again.
How'd you land on the 20% figure?
We asked these two gentlemen and a few others. They said that's a good number. You know, honestly, and as you see, all of our initiatives that we put forward, there's a cost to reducing taxes, and we are focused on making life more affordable by keeping money in students' pockets, keeping money in working people of Saskatchewan's pockets, so that they can deal with the cost of living challenges that all Canadians are feeling, albeit less here in Saskatchewan, but doing what we can do to ensure that parents and families have the funds to ensure that they can live their best life here. And we have a quality of life in Saskatchewan that is unlike many other places in the world, and we want to ensure that we're preserving it through the strength of the economy and the growth of the economy that we have.
Why add class 1 to this as well?
Well, we've seen significant changes in how a Class 1 license is acquired in the training and the cost to employers in time and the actual cost in the training costs. And we need Class 1 safe, qualified Class 1 drivers in the industries that are creating wealth in Saskatchewan communities. And so, again, what we are doing is trying to support Saskatchewan people and families in bettering the career opportunities that they may have by putting $5,000 towards the Class 1 training here in Saskatchewan. Safer drivers, more people having their Class 1, and contributing to a stronger economy. That is why.
Given that the province is in a deficit right now, how are you going to pay for this and for distribution?
Right. We have yesterday's announcement, this announcement. We'll have some others as well, and we will have at the summation of those fully costed document, like we do each and every time. That's unlike, and again, a significant difference between us and past elections with the New Democratic, the NDP party, is they have failed to cost their platforms time and time again. I think they were over $8 billion out last election, $4 billion in uncosted promises this election. It is, it's reckless spending that will ultimately be borne, in this case, by canceling the GRP on the backs of our youth, our children, and our future. And so we'll have a fully costed document very shortly. But it is, as you see the campaign platforms unroll, we are very much focused on making life more affordable for Saskatchewan families and using the strength of a Saskatchewan economy to ensure that's the case.
Are you able to talk a little more about where the revenues will come from? Like, could you go into that a little bit, take us into the economic roots?
Well, I think if you look very simply at our province and how we create wealth in Saskatchewan, we export stuff to over 160 countries around the world. When we formed government in 2007, our export value in this province was $17 billion. Today and last year, that was $50 billion. And so our export potential and opportunity has grown, and the value of our exports has grown exponentially over the last decade and a half. And that's due to the work that Saskatchewan people have been doing, but it's also due to the opportunities that our youth have to participate in that growing, vibrant, and strong economy here in Saskatchewan. And that is how, it's through the very strength of that economy that we're able to, as a provincial government, and I would say other levels of government as well, municipal governments, invest back into the very families that are creating that strong economy. You see a Jim Pattison Children's Hospital here in Saskatoon. That's a project that was never built under the NDP, and I would say that if they're going to continue with the reckless spending promises that they have, you are not going to see that kind of investment into the future. Their record is decline, loss, and closure, and most certainly that's what they're planning for with the platform that we see put forward thus far.
Are you able to go a little more? Because it kind of just seems like you're saying the export growth, you just expect export growth to continue going up to help cover these costs. That's kind of what I'm...
Well, I think that is the goal, and that is the expectation at this point in time. I was in Humboldt the other day touring a facility where they are now taking peas grown in Saskatchewan, and rather than exporting peas, they're actually they're going through a process and exporting pea protein. That's a much higher value than peas, and so we're increasing the value of the products that we are producing here. You see the largest mining company in the world, BHP, making their single largest investment in the history of that company right here in Saskatchewan, and looking at other opportunities. You see a uranium mine with NextGen coming into construction north of La Loche. You see a net zero copper mine south of Flin Flon. And so when the question is put out as to, is our export value going to climb in the future? Everything points towards yes, it most certainly is, and we are going to need more young people, more millwrights, and more mechanics to ensure that that we have the qualified and skilled workforce here to ensure that is the case. And I would say that is always the goal, is to provide that opportunity for our youth, for people like Luke and Jake to be able to raise their family in a community in the province where they were raised, and we haven't always had that opportunity here. So yes, our export value has grown over the last number of years, and the expectation is that it is going to continue to grow. And what would stop that, what would halt that, is reckless spending by a provincial government, reckless spending that the NDP are currently campaigning on, reckless spending that would not allow for a royalty program that is comparable and competitive with the rest of the world, reckless spending that would not support the people that are working in these industries like Luke and Jake now and into the future in creating and investing in the hospitals that we have in our communities and the people that are offering services in those hospitals. Today we have 28 schools that are either being planned or being built in this province. 28 schools. Ask the NDP leader how many schools the NDP built in 16 years, and that won't total what's currently in progress under this government. Currently in progress only due to the work that these two gentlemen and so many others across the province are doing.
So just sorry, quick follow-up again. There's no, there would be no plan to change or look at re-examine royalties at all for any non-renewable resources?
Yeah, I believe it was in 2018 that we had made some adjustments to the royalty program with respect to the potash. We're very much in tune and watching the global market and ensuring that we are competitive and attracting that investment, because our growth agenda and adding value to those export numbers and adding opportunity for our youth is about attracting that investment into the province. And I would say that where we are today has attracted, and here's an example, has attracted the largest mining company in the world to make the largest single investment that company has ever made right here in our province of Saskatchewan, and you can add to that a number of other mines in the uranium field and in the copper field as well.
Since the introduction of this program, the inflation went up 40% across the country. Why not?
40%?
Yes, since the introduction in 2008. Why not just increase it from 20 to 40? Sorry.
Well, we'll work on what the numbers are. Again, it has to be responsible, affordable, and it has to be a program that is attracting people to stay here in the province. It's unlike anywhere else in the nation. And so, it's a fair question for other governments across the nation as well, is what are you doing to attract folks into your communities in your respective province? But I would say there's a few things to this. First, you need the career opportunity. Those career opportunities are arriving in Saskatchewan for the first time in decades, and it's due to investments that are being made in the mining sector, in the oil and gas sector, in the ag value-added sector, as well as all of the other sectors that support our export-based economy here in Saskatchewan. And so, first, you need the opportunity. Second, you need the training opportunities, and you've seen in Saskatchewan that we've expanded a number of those training opportunities, many of them in healthcare with the discussion over the last number of years. And then third, you need the incentives, the low-tax environment, the investment environment that is going to allow people to stay, work, and raise their families here. And that's what this is about, is increasing what is already a one-of-its-kind program in the nation of Canada. I would say a tremendously effective program benefiting over 85,000 youth since its inception, over $800 million, and a program that the NDP would cut to support the reckless spending and ultimately put their reckless spending and the cost of that on the backs of our children, our youth, and the people that are going to be the leaders of tomorrow. They just might lead somewhere else if there's an NDP government here.
Looks like you'll be getting lots of mail today. QP healthcare workers say they're going to be delivering about 1,800 postcards to your office at the legislature. This is to highlight the cost of living concerns and the need for a raise. I guess, what do you think of the postcard campaign, and is there a path to a raise that these workers feel they deserve?
Well, should we have the opportunity to form government on October the 28th, and I would ask each of them for their support in doing so, because if they were watching last night's evening news, CTV, Global, CBC, whatever news they might be listening to, most certainly they would have seen that this is a party that will enact, if we are successful and have the honor to form government, the largest income tax reduction since 2008. And each of those members, each of those 1,800 folks that have signed that will then have the opportunity to live in the jurisdiction where we have the highest income threshold on when you start to pay provincial income tax in this province. The announcement yesterday will, in addition to the 112,000 people that we removed from the provincial tax rolls in 2008, remove another 54,000 people from those very tax rolls. A total of 166,000 people will not pay provincial income tax in the province of Saskatchewan. The highest income tax threshold, making us one of the lowest personal income tax jurisdictions in the nation. And so I would respectfully ask for each of them to support our income tax reduction and support the Saskatchewan Party on October the 28th. And we'll answer them if we have the honor to form government and I go back to the Premier's office.
But people are not asking for the income tax. They're asking to be paid more for the work that they're doing in the healthcare system. So why not go that route instead?
And we do have the most ambitious health human resource plan in the nation, which does include a number of recruitment incentives in hard-to-recruit locations, hard-to-recruit areas where the Saskatchewan Health Authority does need a hand. We have expanded our training opportunities, so there are more people available to work in the healthcare sector. Over 800 additional seats have been added, in addition to the seats at the College of Medicine more directly for our province's physicians. We've expanded scope an expanded opportunity to keep people retained, working in our healthcare system, to attract more people into that healthcare system, and we've hired over 1,300 nurses in the last about 18 months, and will continue to do so. The fact is, when it comes to our healthcare workers, a number of them are going into negotiations in a post-election environment, and those negotiations will occur. But we have healthcare workers in this province that are not only supported with some of the strongest wage programs across the nation, but also are supported by the most ambitious health human resource plan as well. We need more healthcare workers today, and we need more healthcare workers in the future in our healthcare facilities to ensure that they are offering the services that they do and can do so with the minimum of disruptions.
Saskatchewan has tied now for the lowest minimum wage in the country. We've had an increase yesterday, but we're still tied to the lowest minimum wage. Why not increase the minimum wage here so all workers, including those who are newcomers who often get those minimum wage jobs, have access to, get paid more?
Right, minimum wage is one metric. Your take-home pay is a very different metric. And with yesterday's announcement, anyone that is working, and not only a minimum wage, but in the lower income brackets, is not paying provincial tax in this province. And they are taking home more dollars than in the case of many other provinces. In addition to that, we have in Saskatchewan, we are one of the most affordable places to live in the nation. We have a lower inflation rate than any other province in the nation. That being said, we understand there are challenges not just for those on minimum wage, but for families across the province, and that's why we introduced yesterday the largest income tax reduction since 2008, and that means that those very folks are going to take home more take-home pay than they would in other provinces, and certainly taking home more take-home pay than they ever did under an NDP government in this province.
A lot of people would argue, though, that even if they're not paying that income tax, it's still not enough to live on.
Certainly, and that's why we're providing all sorts of training opportunities, and as we talk today with respect to the graduate retention program, opportunities for Saskatchewan people to not only have a better career and a job, but to improve the education that they maybe have access to, improve the opportunities that they might have in their community. And again, I say it's about creating that career opportunity, creating the training opportunities for those folks so that people can excel and attain and aspire to all that they choose to aspire to, and doing so in supporting folks through some of the lowest, if not the lowest, income tax rates, provincial income tax rates across the nation of Canada. Thank you, everybody. Any questions for Luke or Jake? They got lots to offer.